Okay, so get this. We're going to be diving into some research on AI and how it's being used in medicine.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, actually, the way these models are being tailored to fit different tasks in healthcare.
Exactly. So we've got a whole bunch of papers here, real cutting edge stuff on how AI is being developed,
Mm.
specifically for medicine. We're talking diagnosis, treatment, patient care, you name it.
And what's striking is the sheer volume, the amount of research that's being dedicated to this right now.
Absolutely. So let's just jump right in. One of the big things that I've been seeing is this whole debate about
Yeah.
whether we should build AI from scratch, for every medical problem,
Yeah.
or if we can use, these broader AI models, like the ones that have been trained on, tons of text and images.
Right. That's a key question because you have these powerful models, but they're not necessarily designed
Right.
for medicine. So how do you bridge that gap?
Right. And there's actually been some research saying that these general models, they might already have
Yeah.
a surprising amount of medical knowledge just like baked in.
They do. One study found that a general AI model could perform quite well on medical exams, even without specific medical training.
Whoa. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So does that mean that we can just like plug and play these
Uh,
general AI models into healthcare?
Not so fast. I think it's more nuanced than that. It's not just about taking a general AI and unleashing it in
Got
a
it.
hospital.
Yeah.
You need strategies to guide these models towards medical expertise.
Okay.
Even if they have some basic knowledge, it's kind of like having a brilliant student. They might be
Mhm.
naturally gifted,
Mhm.
but they still need the right instruction
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
and guidance to excel in a specific field.
So it's more like giving them a crash course in medicine, even if they know a few things.
Exactly. And researchers are developing these techniques to kind of do just that, giving the AI instructions or
Okay.
prompts to focus its reasoning on the medical problem at hand.
So it's like giving them a roadmap to help them navigate all the complexity
Yeah, like a roadmap. That's a great way to put it.
of healthcare.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got these super smart general AI models on the one hand, and then we've got more specialized models that are trained on specific medical data.
Right.
So how do we kind of get the best of both worlds? How do we leverage both of those?
Well, that's where this concept of generalist-specialist collaboration comes in.
Okay.
And you can imagine it like a team of doctors working together. You have your general practitioners who are great at diagnosing common ailments, and then you've got specialists who have deeper expertise in specific areas.
Right.
So it's about having a team.
Okay, I'm following you.
Yeah. So how does this work with AI? Well, researchers are developing AI systems that can do both. They can act as generalists for initial screenings, but then call in the specialized AI models when they encounter something outside of their expertise.
Oh, interesting.
So it's all about maximizing efficiency and accuracy by having this team approach.
I like that analogy. It's like having this whole team of AI doctors working together to figure out the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. But what about those those cases that are really tricky to figure out,
Right.
Like those zebra diseases that doctors are always told to rule out first.
Ah, yes, the zebras.
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge challenge and one that AI researchers are really focused on.
Okay.
One team actually developed an AI model specifically for identifying rare diseases,
Okay.
and they called it Zebra Llama, which I just love the name.
Zebra llama, I love that. That's a great name.
It is.
So how does the zebra llama actually work?
Well, think of it as a medical detective.
Yeah.
It uses natural language processing,
Mhm.
and it has this knowledge base specifically about rare diseases.
Okay.
It can analyze patient information. It can sift through medical literature. It can even consider patient experiences that are shared online to help doctors reach more accurate diagnosis.
That's it's like having a superpowered research assistant that's like laser focused on finding these medical zebras.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So does it actually work? Like, is it better than what we have now?
Well, in tests, Zebra Llama actually outperformed existing models in a few areas, like thoroughness, accuracy, and even how reliable its citations were. So
Wow.
it's a really promising step forward in making expert knowledge about rare diseases more accessible.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about diagnosis and rare diseases and all that, but
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder, where do doctors fit into all of this?
Yeah,
Are we going to see AI replacing doctors altogether?
that's a question that comes up a lot.
I bet, yeah.
But I think the research is really pointing towards a different direction. It's not about replacing doctors. It's about empowering them with better tools and information.
So it's more like AI being a doctor's assistant,
Yeah, exactly.
helping them do their jobs better and more efficiently.
Right, think of it like this. Doctors are already bombarded with so much information.
Yeah,
Patient charts, test results, medical journals. It's overwhelming.
it's a lot.
And AI can really help filter through all of that and identify,
Okay.
the key insights and present those insights in a way that's more digestible.
So it's kind of like AI taking on the role of a super efficient medical librarian.
Exactly.
Just going through mountains of information and finding the most relevant stuff for each case.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
Yeah, so do you have any examples of AI systems that are actually being developed right now
Sure.
to assist doctors?
Yeah, there's a really cool example called Cataract Bot.
Okay.
And it's an AI-powered chatbot that's designed to help patients
Oh,
who
interesting.
are going through cataract surgery.
Okay, so instead of, calling up the doctor's office with
Okay.
every question. They can just, chat with this cataract bot.
Exactly. You can answer their questions, provide information about the procedure, and even schedule appointments.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So this really frees up the doctors and the nurses to focus on, the more complex tasks and spend more time with the patients who really need that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, that's great, especially for something that's as common as cataracts.
Right.
I can see that being a huge time saver for doctors.
Absolutely.
So are there other AI tools, being developed for other conditions?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Researchers are really exploring all sorts of applications.
Okay.
Everything from monitoring patients for side effects of cancer treatment to managing chronic conditions like diabetes.
So it's like we're building this whole army of AI assistants,
Yes.
each one specialized in a different area of medicine,
Uh-huh.
all working alongside doctors to provide, the best possible care.
It's a really exciting time.
That's really cool.
And what's even more exciting is that a lot of these AI systems are being designed specifically with the doctor in mind.
Okay.
It's not about replacing that human expertise. It's about enhancing it with AI's ability to analyze these massive data sets and identify patterns that we might miss.
So it's all about collaboration, not replacement.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. One of the things that really stood out to me in some of this research was this idea of
Yeah.
uncertainty quantification.
Yes, uncertainty quantification, that's crucial, especially when we're talking about healthcare.
Yeah, and I have to admit that term sounds a little intimidating.
Yeah, it could be a bit jargony.
Yeah, can you break it down for me a little bit?
Sure. Imagine your doctor tells you, hey, there's a 90% chance you have the flu.
Okay.
Well, that 10% uncertainty, that's really important to understand, right?
It's absolutely, yeah. It changes how I think about that diagnosis and what I might do next.
Exactly. And so uncertainty quantification in AI, it's all about understanding
Okay,
how confident the AI is in its prediction.
gotcha.
No AI is perfect, and it's really important to know when it might be wrong, especially when you're dealing with
Right.
people's health.
So it's kind of like knowing the margin of error for an AI diagnosis?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And the good news is that researchers are developing ways to both quantify and reduce
Yeah.
that uncertainty
That's good.
to make these systems more reliable.
So that's reassuring. But even if we know how confident the AI is, don't we also need to understand
Yeah.
why it's making a certain prediction? What's the reasoning behind it?
Absolutely. And that's where explainable AI comes in, or XAI for short.
Okay.
And this is all about making the AI's decision-making process transparent
Gotcha.
so that humans can understand it.
Explainable AI, that sounds a lot less intimidating than uncertainty quantification.
Yeah.
So how does that work? I mean, does the AI write out a little explanation every time?
Well, it can. Researchers are developing these techniques to allow AI systems to generate explanations
Okay.
for their predictions in
Yeah.
a way that humans can understand.
Right.
And this is not just about satisfying our curiosity,
Yeah.
It's about building trust and ensuring that AI is used responsibly.
Right. If you're going to trust an AI with your health, you need to know why it's making the decision it's making.
Exactly. And doctors feel the same way.
Right.
If an AI is recommending a treatment plan, the doctor needs to understand the reasoning behind it before they implement it.
Absolutely. And this just makes me think about how important it is to have, humans in the loop, even as these systems get more sophisticated.
It's crucial. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not about replacing doctors, nurses, all these healthcare professionals.
Right.
It's about giving them better tools and information so they can do
Yes.
their jobs even better.
Yeah. It's about combining the best of both worlds.
Okay.
The human intuition and compassion with AI's ability to analyze these massive data sets
Right.
and spot those patterns that we might miss.
That's great. So we've talked about uncertainty, explainable AI, the importance of keeping humans in the loop. And I feel like there's this bigger trend here, like something that connects all of these different ideas together.
Yeah, there is. And I think what we're seeing is a shift towards this more holistic approach to AI in healthcare.
Okay.
It's not just about, building systems that diagnose or recommend treatments. It's about building systems that can work seamlessly with human healthcare providers, provide insights that are understandable and trustworthy, and ultimately improve patient care in a way that's, safe, ethical, and effective.
I love that. So it's not just about the technology itself. It's
Yeah.
about how we use it, who's using it.
Yeah.
It's about collaboration. It's about transparency. And it's about making sure that the patient is at the center of it all.
I think that's a perfect way to put it.
Awesome. So we've talked about all these different aspects of AI in medicine, but one of the most exciting areas that I've been looking into is this idea of multimodal AI.
Yes, multimodal AI. This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready to be wowed.
All right.
What is multimodal AI and why is everyone so excited about it?
All right, so think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to understand a patient's health by only looking at one piece of information,
Okay.
like their blood pressure.
Right.
You're missing a big part of the picture.
Right. You need to see the whole thing, yeah.
Exactly. So multimodal AI, it's all about combining different types of data to get this more comprehensive understanding of a patient's health.
Gotcha.
We're talking about integrating data from images, electronic health records, genetic testing, wearables, even things like social media activity.
So instead of just, looking at like an X-ray.
Yeah.
You could combine that with the patient's medical history, their genetic predispositions, even data from their Fitbit.
Exactly. It's like putting together this giant puzzle where each piece of data adds to the overall picture.
Right. Okay.
And researchers are finding that these multimodal AI systems are consistently outperforming single-mode AI models.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're talking about significant improvements in accuracy
Wow.
and diagnostic capabilities.
That's incredible. So it really sounds like multimodal AI has the potential to revolutionize how we diagnose and treat all sorts of diseases.
I think it does, yeah.
So do you have any examples of how this is being used right now?
Yeah, tons of examples. Researchers are developing models for all sorts of applications, from diagnosing cancer to predicting heart attacks to personalizing treatment plans for things like diabetes.
So it's not just about, diagnosing these problems, it's about preventing them and managing them.
Exactly. Multimodal AI allows us to see the whole patient, not just their symptoms.
Okay.
It helps us understand the underlying causes of their illness,
Yeah.
identify potential risks, and tailor those treatments to their needs.
It's like having a team of specialists, like a cardiologist, an endocrinologist, a radiologist,
Yeah, whole time.
all working together to analyze your data and come up with like a truly personalized healthcare plan.
I love that analogy. It's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and it's so exciting because it really feels like multimodal AI has the potential to, change healthcare from being this reactive system to a proactive one where we're focused on preventing disease, promoting wellness,
Absolutely.
and really empowering people to take control of their own health.
Couldn't agree more.
I love that. But I have to admit, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by all this information. Like, it's so clear that AI is going to have a huge impact on healthcare, but it's kind of hard to know exactly what that's going to look like.
I understand it is a rapidly evolving field, and there's still a lot we don't know. But I think it's important to remember that AI is not this mysterious force outside of our control. It's a tool that we as humans are creating and shaping.
So the future of AI in healthcare, it's really up to us.
It is. Yeah. We have the power to guide its development and make sure it's used to benefit humanity.
That's a really powerful message. But before we get too philosophical, I want to ask, what are some practical things that people listening can do to stay informed about all of this?
That's a great question. I think first and foremost, stay curious. Read articles, listen to podcasts, follow experts in the field, and really try to keep up with the latest advancements, as well as the ethical considerations.
So it's all about staying informed and engaged.
Exactly. And if you're really passionate about this topic, consider getting involved in advocacy efforts. There are organizations out there that are working to ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly in healthcare.
Yeah.
And they always welcome new voices.
That's great advice. It's easy to feel powerless in the face of all this rapid technological change.
Right.
But it's really empowering to know that we can actually make a difference.
I think we can.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about how AI can improve diagnosis, treatment, patient care, even medical research itself. But one area that we haven't really gotten into yet is the role of AI in personalized medicine.
Yes. Personalized medicine. That's a really exciting area where AI has the potential to be truly transformative.
Okay, tell me more, because personalized medicine is all about tailoring treatments and interventions to each individual patient, taking into account, their unique genetic makeup, their lifestyle, their environment.
It's like creating this custom healthcare plan for every person.
So how does AI fit into all of this?
Well, AI can play a critical role in analyzing all of the data that's needed to make those kinds of personalized recommendations.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me some examples.
All right, so one exciting area is pharmacogenomics.
Okay.
Which is the study of how genes affect a person's response to drugs.
Okay.
So AI can analyze a patient's genetic profile to predict how they'll metabolize certain medications.
Interesting.
This allows doctors to prescribe the right drug at the right dosage, minimizing side effects and maximizing effectiveness.
So it's like taking the guesswork out of prescribing medications.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And what about other areas? Is AI being used to personalize treatments for other conditions?
Absolutely. Researchers are exploring its use in a whole range of diseases, including diabetes, heart disease, and even mental health disorders.
Really?
Yeah. For example, there are AI-powered apps that can track a patient's blood sugar, their diet, their exercise habits.
Oh, wow.
To provide personalized recommendations for managing their diabetes.
So it's like having this virtual health coach in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it.
That's really cool. What about heart disease?
Well, for heart disease, AI can analyze imaging studies, genetic data, lifestyle factors, all of that to assess an individual's risk of developing cardiovascular problems and recommend preventive measures.
Wow, so it's like having a personalized health advisor just guiding you towards a healthier lifestyle.
Exactly.
That's incredible. What about mental health? How can AI help personalize treatments for mental health conditions?
Well, that's a really fascinating area of research. For example, AI is being used to develop chatbots and virtual therapists that can provide personalized support and guidance for people struggling with anxiety, depression, other mental health challenges.
Oh, that's fantastic.
These systems can track a person's mood, their sleep patterns, even their language used to detect early warning signs of a mental health crisis,
Okay.
and provide timely interventions.
So it's like having a 247 mental health support system
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
right in your pocket.
Yeah, and as these systems get more sophisticated
Yeah.
and personalized, they have the potential to really transform
Wow.
how we approach mental health care.
That's incredible.
But, as with any powerful tool, we need to be mindful of how they're developed and used.
Right.
We need to make sure they're accessible to everyone
Of course.
and that they don't accidentally create or worsen existing healthcare disparities.
That's a really important point. We can't let AI just exacerbate the inequalities that already exist in healthcare. We need to make sure that everyone benefits from these advancements.
I agree, and I think that brings us to another really interesting aspect of AI in healthcare.
Okay.
Its potential role in preventive medicine.
Okay, preventive medicine, I'm all ears. How can AI help us stay healthy rather than just treating us when we get sick?
Well, imagine this. AI systems analyzing your lifestyle choices, your genetic predispositions, even environmental factors to predict your risk of developing certain diseases,
Wow.
years in advance.
So instead of waiting for people to get sick, we could use AI to identify those who are at risk and
Yeah.
intervene early
Still.
to prevent the disease from ever happening in the first place.
Exactly. We could see personalized recommendations for, diet, exercise, stress management,
Yeah.
even preventative screenings, all tailored to your risk profile.
So it's like having this personalized crystal ball just kind of guiding you toward a healthier future.
I love that analogy, yeah.
That's amazing.
It really is. And speaking of exciting prospects, AI also holds this tremendous potential in the realm of elder care.
Oh, okay. Elder care. That's a topic that's close to my heart. My parents are getting older, and I worry about them being able to, stay in their own home as they age.
I understand it's a concern for a lot of families, but imagine a world where AI-powered robots can provide companionship,
Okay.
assist with daily tasks, and even monitor vital signs to detect potential health issues.
So instead of, having to move into assisted living,
Right.
our loved ones could have these AI companions helping them
Yeah.
age gracefully in their own homes.
Exactly. It would allow them to maintain their independence and their quality of life for longer,
Mm,
and also give their families peace of mind.
that's great.
It could really revolutionize how we think about aging and elder care.
Wow, I can definitely see how AI could make a big difference in the lives of older adults and their families. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So we've talked about AI preventing diseases, supporting mental health, assisting with elder care.
Right.
Are there any other areas where you see AI having a major impact on healthcare?
Well, one area that I think is often overlooked
Go.
is the potential for AI in global health initiatives.
Okay, global health. How can AI help with health challenges on a global scale?
We'll imagine AI analyzing satellite imagery, weather patterns, even social media data
Mhm.
to predict outbreaks of infectious diseases in remote areas.
Wow.
Or AI-powered diagnostic tools that can be used in places with limited access to healthcare professionals.
So AI could help us stay ahead of pandemics and other public health threats and bring essential healthcare services to, the people who need them the most.
Yeah, exactly. It's about using AI to improve health outcomes
Okay.
for everyone, regardless of where they live or their socioeconomic status.
That's really powerful. This is all incredibly inspiring, but
Yeah.
it's also a bit daunting. It feels like we're on the verge of this whole new era in healthcare.
We are.
And it's kind of hard to wrap my head around all the changes that are coming.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah. So what about the role of, doctors, nurses, all these healthcare professionals in this new AI-driven world? I mean, are they going to be replaced by robots?
That's a question that a lot of people have, and it's
Yeah.
understandable. But I really want to emphasize that AI is not about replacing healthcare professionals.
Yeah.
It's about augmenting their abilities
Mm.
and allowing them to practice at the top of their license.
So it's about collaboration, not replacement.
Exactly. It's about creating this partnership
Okay.
between humans and machines where each brings their unique strengths to the table.
Yeah.
AI can handle those repetitive tasks, the data analysis, the pattern recognition,
Right.
and humans can focus on the things that AI can't do,
Mhm.
like, providing empathy, building relationships with patients,
Okay.
making those complex judgments that require intuition and experience.
So it's not machines versus humans. It's machines and humans working together to create a healthier future.
I love that.
Yeah. So how will this actually work in practice? Can you give me some specific examples of
Yeah.
how AI will change the way healthcare professionals actually do their jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with radiology.
Okay.
So AI can help radiologists analyze images,
Mhm.
Identifying potential areas of concern and flagging them for further review.
So instead of spending hours looking at scans,
Yeah.
they can use AI to kind of prioritize their workload and focus on the cases that need their expertise the most.
Exactly. And this isn't just in radiology. AI can assist surgeons in the operating room,
Wow.
providing real-time guidance and feedback during complex procedures.
That's incredible. So it's like having a co-pilot in the operating room,
Yeah, exactly.
helping them navigate these complex procedures with more precision and more safety.
That's right.
Wow. What about nurses?
Well, AI can also help nurses monitor patients' vital signs,
Okay.
alerting them to potential problems before they become serious, which allows for earlier intervention.
So it's like having an extra set of eyes and ears.
Yeah, always watching, always supporting.
Okay.
And Even pharmacists can benefit. AI can help them ensure patients are getting the right medications, the right
Right.
dosages, and can flag potential drug interactions or allergies.
So it's really going to touch every aspect of healthcare,
Yeah.
from diagnosis to treatment, patient monitoring, medication management.
Yeah, it's going to be really transformative.
It's amazing to think about, all the different ways it's going to change the way healthcare is delivered.
Absolutely. And speaking of changes in healthcare delivery, I think we'll see a big shift towards more decentralized care,
Okay.
where AI will enable more care to be delivered remotely,
Oh, interesting.
in people's homes.
Okay, tell me more about this shift towards decentralized care. What will that actually look like?
Well, imagine consulting with your doctor via video chat,
Okay.
having your vital signs monitored remotely,
Right.
using wearables, maybe even receiving virtual physical therapy sessions.
So instead of having to travel to the doctor's office or the hospital,
Yeah.
people could receive care from the comfort of their own homes.
Exactly. And this could be especially beneficial for people in, rural or underserved areas
Right.
where access to healthcare is often limited. It could really democratize access to care, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to receive high-quality care,
Right.
regardless of where they live.
It sounds like AI could really help solve some of the biggest challenges facing healthcare systems all over the world.
I think it can.
That's fantastic. But what about the cost of all of this? I mean, developing and deploying these systems in healthcare, it's expensive. Someone has to pay for it.
That's true. That's a really important question, and it's something that, policymakers and healthcare providers and tech
Mhm.
companies are all grappling with right now.
Okay.
There are a few potential funding models that are being explored.
I'm curious to hear about the options. What are some of the ways we could fund this?
Well, one option is government funding.
Mhm.
Many governments are already investing quite a bit in AI research and development because they see the potential.
Yeah.
So government grants and subsidies could really help support
Right.
the development and deployment of these AI systems.
Okay, so taxpayers would essentially foot the bill for these advancements,
Right.
with the hope that, it'll lead to better health outcomes,
Yeah.
a more efficient system in the long run.
It's an investment in the future of healthcare.
Right, and are there other options besides government funding?
Yeah, there's also private investment.
Mm.
Venture capitalists and other investors are
Okay.
are already pouring billions of dollars
Yeah.
into AI healthcare startups
Okay.
because they see the enormous market potential there.
So the profit motive could be a powerful driver of progress.
It certainly could be, yeah. But it's important to make sure that that drive for profit doesn't overshadow,
Right.
patient safety and privacy and equity.
Right, of course. Of course.
We need strong regulations and ethical guidelines to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly,
Hmm.
even as private investment fuels its growth.
That's a really important point. We can't let the pursuit of profit, kind of run wild and overshadow the need to protect patients and make sure that these advancements are accessible to everyone.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So we've got government funding, we've got private investment. Are there any other potential models that are being looked at?
Yeah, well, there's also the possibility of a hybrid approach, right?
Yeah.
Combining government funding, private investment,
Okay.
maybe even philanthropic contributions.
Right.
This could create this, more sustainable and diversified funding stream.
It's like a collective effort to
Exactly.
make these things happen.
We're all stakeholders in the future of healthcare,
Mhm.
and we all have a role to play.
That's a great way to put it. So we've talked about, the potential benefits, all these exciting advancements,
Right.
but it's important to acknowledge that there are challenges,
Of course.
ethical considerations that we need to be thinking about.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things that we should be cautious about as we, move into this new frontier?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is bias.
Okay.
The potential for bias in these AI systems.
Right, because if the data used to train these systems is biased,
Yeah.
the AI is going to reflect those biases, which could lead to some, unfair or even harmful outcomes.
Exactly. So if, for example, an AI system is trained on data that mainly comes from, patients of a certain race
Right.
or socioeconomic background,
Mhm.
it might not be as accurate or effective for patients from different backgrounds.
Right. So it's really important to make sure that the data used to train these systems
Okay.
is diverse and representative of the population
Mm.
that they'll be used to treat.
Got it. We have to actively work to mitigate bias
Mm.
in AI development,
Hmm.
or we risk making those disparities even worse.
That's a really sobering thought. It highlights the need for, careful consideration,
Wow.
ethical oversight as we develop and deploy these AI systems.
Absolutely.
So besides bias, what else should we be thinking about as we move forward?
Well, another really important consideration is privacy
Okay.
and data security.
Of course. Yeah.
These AI systems, they rely on massive amounts of data.
Right.
And it's crucial to ensure that that data is handled responsibly and ethically.
Hmm.
Patients need to have confidence that their information is being protected.
Absolutely. With all this talk about, AI analyzing our medical records, our genetic information, even our online activity, it's natural to be concerned about privacy.
Of course.
So what steps can we take to protect patient data in this AI-driven world?
Well, one important step is to implement, strong data encryption and security measures
Okay.
to prevent unauthorized access or breaches.
Mhm.
And another key measure is transparency.
Okay.
Being transparent with patients about how their data is being used
Right.
and giving them control over their own health information.
So it's not just about protecting data from, hackers.
Right.
It's also about respecting patient autonomy and giving them a say in how their information is used.
Exactly. Patients need to feel empowered and informed,
Right.
not like their data is being used without their knowledge or consent.
Absolutely. So we've talked about the potential for bias, the importance of privacy, and the need for clear ethical guidelines. What other challenges do you see as AI becomes more and more integrated into healthcare?
Well, one challenge that I think is often overlooked
Right.
is the need to update our legal and regulatory frameworks
Right.
to keep up with these advancements in AI.
Yeah, because our current laws might not be equipped to answer those questions.
Exactly. And so we need to have these thoughtful conversations and develop clear guidelines to ensure that that AI is used safely and responsibly in healthcare.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits, we've acknowledged the challenges, the
Right.
ethical considerations, the need for careful regulation.
Oh.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to go back to something that we touched on a little bit earlier.
Right.
The human element.
Yes, the human element. In all of this excitement about technology, it's easy to forget that that healthcare is really about people. It's about caring for one another, showing empathy, building those trusting relationships.
And as amazing as AI is,
Yeah.
it can't replace those human qualities. It can't, hold a patient's hand, offer words of comfort.
It can't provide that human touch.
Right.
That's so essential.
We need to remember that AI is a tool.
It is.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It's
Yeah.
up to us to make sure that it's used in a way that enhances our humanity, not diminishes
I
it.
couldn't agree more. It's not about AI versus humans.
Right.
It's about finding ways for AI and humans to work together to create a more compassionate and equitable healthcare system.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into AI and healthcare, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the key takeaway is this.
Yeah.
AI has the potential to truly revolutionize healthcare in these profound and positive ways, but it's up to us to make sure that it's used wisely,
Right.
ethically, and for the benefit of all.
That's a really powerful message, and one that I hope our listeners will keep in mind long after this episode is over.
I wish so too.
It's been an amazing journey exploring this topic with you.
It has. It's such a fascinating field.
It really is, and I think the most exciting thing is, like we said earlier, we're really just at the beginning of this journey, the future of AI in healthcare. It's full of possibilities, and it's up to all of us to shape that future in a way that benefits humanity.
Well,
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into AI in healthcare. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and fascinating topic. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. You're right. It's easy to get caught up in, all the cool stuff AI can do.
yeah.
But we got to be realistic about the challenges, the potential downsides. What are some of the things that we need to be careful about?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is bias.
Okay.
If the data that's used to train these systems is biased,
Yeah.
then the AI is going to reflect those biases in its decisions.
Right.
And that could lead to, some really unfair or even harmful outcomes for certain groups of patients.
So like if a system is trained on data that mostly comes from, say white patients,
Right.
it might not be as accurate for patients of color.
Exactly. And that's why it's so crucial to make sure that the data used to train these systems is diverse
Right.
and representative of the populations that they're going to be used to treat.
So we really have to work hard to, avoid bias in these systems, or we risk making things worse.
We do. Absolutely.
That's a scary thought.
It is.
Okay, so besides bias, what else should we be thinking about?
Well, another really important consideration is privacy,
Okay.
data security.
Of course, yeah, with AI systems relying on so much data.
Right. They need vast amounts of data to function.
Right.
And we have to make sure that data is handled responsibly, ethically.
Patients need to be confident that their information is being protected.
Absolutely. And with all this talk about AI, looking at our medical records, genetic information, our online activity, it's understandable that people have privacy concerns.
It makes sense. Yeah.
So what can we do to protect that data?
Right. What steps can we take?
Well, one thing is to, implement strong data encryption,
Okay.
security measures, and then also transparency.
Okay.
Being open with patients about how their data is being used, giving them control over it.
So it's not just about, protecting the data from being stolen. It's also about respecting the patient's, right to control their own information.
Exactly. It's about making sure patients feel empowered, not like their data is being used without their knowledge or consent.
Okay, so we've got bias, we've got privacy, we've talked about the need for ethical guidelines. What other challenges are out there?
Well, one challenge that I think is often overlooked
Okay.
is our legal and regulatory frameworks.
Okay.
We need to update those
Yeah.
to keep pace with AI.
Because right now our laws might not be able to handle these new situations.
They might not, Like if an AI system makes a mistake that hurts a patient, who's responsible?
Right.
It's a really complex question.
Right.
And our current legal system might not be ready to answer it.
That's a good point. Yeah. We really need to think through all these issues Carefully.
But we do.
Okay, so we've talked about the benefits, the challenges, the ethical considerations, the need for good regulation. But
Yep.
but before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier,
Right.
that human element.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the technology.
Right.
But we have to remember that healthcare is, at its core, about people.
Hmm.
It's about caring, empathy, building trust.
And those are things that, as amazing as it is, AI can't do.
You can't replace that human connection
Right, right.
that's so essential in healthcare.
We need to remember that AI is a tool,
Yeah,
and it's up to us to use it in a way that, makes us better, not worse.
I agree. It's not about AI versus humans.
Yeah.
It's about using AI to enhance our humanity.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into AI and healthcare, what's the one thing
Okay.
you want our listeners to take away from this?
I think the key takeaway is that AI has incredible potential to really make healthcare better. But it's up to us to make sure it's used wisely, ethically, for everyone's benefit.
That's a great message, and one that I hope our listeners will remember. This has been an amazing conversation.
It has. It really has.
It's so exciting to think about. Like we said, we're really just at the beginning of this.
We are.
The future of AI in healthcare is wide open.
It is.
And it's up to us to shape it.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into AI and healthcare. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and fascinating topic. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.